In this video, we'll be replacing the stock tail lights for these Cadillac style tail lights. Here are the unboxed light assemblies. As you can see, they are well packed in a semi-form-fitting styrofoam enclosure and wrapped with cellophane. Included is a bag which contains 2 ballasts, which I believe are needed for the flashers so they do not hyperblink, and also plastic inserts for the guide pins, which in my case were not needed. There is no information for the installation. Items I suggest you have handy when you do the job are work gloves, goggles, brake or electrical contact cleaner, and of course Scott towels or rags or whatever it is you use to sop it up. Small pick, small screwdriver. You could use either or. I had both because I just like working with the pick and the small screwdriver. Flashlight in case, and a Phillips screwdriver or a Phillips head for a corded or cordless drill, which will make things go easier. The first thing I plan to do is disconnect the tail light wiring harnesses. You'll have a plug like this on both sides, right near the corner of the rear bumper. So I'm going to clean this one up. They should be relatively simple to remove. I'll just go quickly over to see the other side. And there it is on that side there. Same thing. As you can see, years of crud have built up. So I'm going to clean that up and then show how it comes apart. So here, just to show you, this little piece here, right in the center, the little white part, has to be pushed in and then moved out. So it would have to be pushed in and then pushed out that way. The bigger block here is attached to the frame with a plastic clip, so you want to be careful not to break that clip. If by chance you do, all you'd have to do is tie wrap it to something next to it, or put a tie wrap through the frame, whatever, to hold it in its place. This will be the side that comes out with the light. So using a small pick, oh, and a little side note, you might want to wear goggles under here because crap will fall down, and you know, it's a pain in the butt if it goes in the eye, or worse, where you have to go to the doctor to get it out. So here's the little piece. You could use a pick or a flat screwdriver, a small flat screwdriver. I have a pick here, which you push in. And going by this plastic tab, I wouldn't be surprised if this could be lifted a bit, because there is a gap here almost made for a tool. Yeah, that's it exactly. So here you go. So you can go slightly under. You don't have to break it. You see the pick sticking out just barely. Push it and slide out. It's having a little trouble, but there. So here it is. The plastic is out. Don't lose this. This locks the 2 parts together. Then you just gotta pull. It should be pulled, but again, it's been here for so long. Another thing you might want to do, which I forgot to do, is put on a pair of gloves because of the crud that's going to be down here. So with this out now, push that center piece down right here and wiggle it out. So I had a little trouble taking it apart, but I'm going to explain what I did. So hopefully you guys can have an easier time. Hang on there, sorry, whoops. So what I did was, this piece here I pushed in, so I held it like this, squeezed it. And then from this side here, I put a screwdriver against the edge and pushed. So it was pushing that way, pushed a bit here, then did the same on this side. So you did a kind of a wiggling it apart with the screwdriver pushing on these edges and squeezing here, and then it pops out. Now in my case, it's again years of crud buildup probably stopped this from the squeezing part from working properly. So here it is. Now I'm going to clean these up a little more also before installing the new light assemblies. So I'm going to go do the other side and then we'll come to the top. The hardest part is done. Both sides are unplugged. It did not take long using the method I said with the screwdriver pushing. Now the next step is to remove these screws here and this cover here, which is held by a screw up here and nothing more. So sorry for the mess, but where I am, it's tough to keep things clean. So again, this is the other side. Got 1, 2, 3 screws, and they're all Phillips heads on my vehicle. So I'm guessing it would be the same on most others, maybe a Torx 15 or 20 depending on the model year, but on mine and probably most others it's just a Phillips head. Now we're going to start by removing the light assembly itself, because this plastic piece goes behind it. So it should be fairly easy. Grab and slowly twist it. There's, I guess you would call it, locking pins. And there it is. Pops right out. Here's your wiring assembly. I know that came out a bit rougher than expected, but that's what it is. Next, is this trim here. Whoops, there's a screw hidden. I just noticed there's a 4th screw right here, right behind. The light was covering it. So we're going to take that one out. Remember, when you try to pull these out, you always got to pry gently in case something is in the way. That's it. It just comes right out. So 4 screws. Gonna clean this up a bit. This, I'm guessing, is the windshield wash, and it goes into the frame and comes out around here somewhere. I'm guessing here maybe. I believe it's the windshield wash. I mean, it could be wiring, but I doubt it. So I'm just gonna prepare now the new light assemblies. So here we have lights, nicely packed. I opened them when they came just to be sure everything was intact. So now here are resistors, which I believe are for the flasher relays. Sadly, there's no instructions with these lights. So let's just unpackage it so you see what's going on here. Here we have connectors, which not sure where they go yet. We'll find out soon enough. And these are resistors or condensers or just something for the flashers, I believe. This is the light assembly. So I'm gonna pull out the styrofoam and put it where we could see it properly out of the package. This here is the plug that would go at the bottom of the vehicle, as we saw. This is where the condenser or resistor, whatever it is, connects to. But again, I do not know more than that as to who, what, where, when, why type of thing. And I'm noticing that I can't seem to see where those plastic screw arms go. So let's give this a flip over. And here you have it. Now this little protective plastic, like a saran wrap, I plan to leave on till I'm done. The only thing I'm going to do is move it out of the way wherever the screw goes. So I'm going to plug up the resistor, condenser, whatever you want. And I got to figure out where to glue it. There's a type of glue here. There's even, I guess you could say, a couple of holes that if you want to screw it somewhere. The problem is, I'm going to guess it would have to glue somewhere to the light assembly, but at the same time, when you go to put it on, it has to be somewhere where there's room for it so that it doesn't crush. Just a little sidebar. This metal clip here pops out so that you can bring your harness down. So I'm putting it to the maximum, and I'm going to clip it there like that. Next, what I would do, I'm not saying you have to, is just check the fitment before any tightening of screws and before I put that resistor on. So I'm going to check the fitment of the light first, then I'm going to check for the resistor or condenser or whatever it's called. Now, one thing you have to pay attention for are these guides. You have 1, 2, so they would go on the lower side of the light. You have one here and then another there. So far it looks like it's going to be an okay fit. Nice and easy, no rushing. So put your wiring harness down first. Line up your pins. And pay attention to these guides here. So again, put your wiring harness down in first. Then you want to line up your pins with those holes. Make sure these go behind the glass. And if you notice the middle one, there's slots. That's where they would go. I don't know if you can see it. Let's try and get my finger out of there. There's a slot in the sheet metal that the middle tang goes through, and that's on all three of them. So hold it at a slight angle, nothing much. There it is. It looks like it's a fit. I didn't push it in all the way because I still have to do the wiring part. So now I gotta find out where to put the condenser. So I'm gonna start by plugging in condenser doohickey thingy. Reason being is I want to see how much wiring I have. Can only go one way. Now before doing that, I suggest, but it's not necessary, and you know, depends how you feel about it, is to put some dielectric grease so you avoid any problems concerning humidity. So I put a little dab will do you dielectric grease and plug the sucker up. It can only go one way. You have tangs. Hopefully you can see it. And it snaps right in enough. So what I'm going to do is take a little piece of packing tape, tape this piece here, and see what happens if I try to put the part in. Painter's tape would probably be better. So here seems to be the best place to put this piece. It's between the two studs. I don't know how well you see it. The sun decided to come out. It's super bright. So here, stud and stud. Now here, this connector I opened and put dielectric grease. Now also a tip when you go to install this, I had a hard time thinking it didn't fit. Put some dielectric grease where the studs enter. It's going to help everything slide in. And when you go to put it in, you got to go at a very slight angle, push, and when everything's lined up, straighten out and push all the way in. Also, a little bit of an aside also, this is very short, so to speak, or tight, so you can't really test it until everything is installed. So now it's just a matter of putting all the wires here. I might put some tape or something just to hold everything here. And I'm thinking some silicone along here, just in case the 3M glue comes off, it will still hold the piece in its place. Here you see the condenser or resistor, whatever it is, with silicone in its place. The silicone is just there to give it a little extra security. Hopefully it won't fall off. Now here it is installed on one side. I'm just going to put a couple of screws to hold it and check for the door closure to make sure nothing rubs. I decided to put the 4 screws in, seeing how it wasn't complicated. To say it's a perfect fit, no. You can see that it's a relatively large gap here, but it is solid in its place. So that's one side done. The other side will be exactly the same, so I'm not going to film that. The only thing I didn't do is hook up the wiring. Now here we're going to see how the closure is. So it's a nice, looks even on this side.